On Friday, a South Carolina high school stopped students from bringing American flags to a football game against a heavily Hispanic rival school. Why? Well, the principal was presumably worried that waving the flag might offend the Hispanic kids. According to the principal, quote, "This decision would be made any time that the American flag or any other symbol, sign, cheer, or action on the part of our fans would potentially compromise the safety of all in attendance at a school event." This isn't the first such situation. The Ninth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals ruled last year a public school in California could ban students from wearing a shirt emblazoned with an American flag on Cinco de Mayo thanks to fears over racial conflict at that school. The lawyer for the kids said, quote, "This opens the door for a school to suppress any viewpoints that are opposed by a band of vocal and violent bullies." Meanwhile, has-been, kind of never was, San Francisco 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick has been widely praised by the left media for refusing to stand for the national anthem during football games. He said, "I'm not going to stand up to show pride in a flag for a country that oppresses black people and people of color." He explained this while earning $19 million for sitting on the bench. He continued, quote, "To me, this is bigger than football. It would be selfish on my part to look the other way. There are bodies in the street and people getting paid leave and getting away with murder." Okay, folks, we're watching the end of America in real time. That doesn't mean the country's on the verge of actual implosion, but the idea of America required a common definition of being American, a love of country based on the basis of its founding philosophy. That has now been undermined by the left. Love of country doesn't mean you have to love everything about America, or that you can't criticize America. But loving America means understanding that this country was founded on a unique basis, a uniquely good basis. That's what the flag stands for. Not ethnic superiority or racial solidarity or police brutality, but the basic notion of individual liberty and equal rights before God. But with the destruction of that central principle, the ties that bind us together, they're fraying, and the left loves it. In fact, the two defining philosophical iterations of the modern left, they both make war with the ties that bind us together. In President Obama's landmark second inaugural address, people haven't looked at it closely enough, he said, quote, "Being true to our founding documents does not mean we all define liberty in exactly the same way." This is the same kind of definition worshipped by Justice Anthony Kennedy, who has single-handedly redefined the Constitution on issues ranging from abortion to same-sex marriage. He said, quote, "At the heart of liberty is the right to define one's own concept of existence, of meaning, of the universe, and of the mystery of human life." Well, I mean, after smoking a bong, it probably seems that way, but this means that liberty has no real definition outside of stuff I want to do. And it turns out we all want to do different stuff, sometimes at the expense of other people's liberty and stuff. Subjective definitions of liberty, rather than a common definition, means a conflict of all against all, or at least a conflict of a government controlled by some who are targeting everybody else. It means our flag is no longer a common symbol for our shared definition of liberty. It's just a rag that means different things to different people based on their subjective experiences and definitions of reality. And that truly means we have nothing holding us together. The only way to restore the ties that bind us is to rededicate ourselves to the basic idea of liberty for which generations of Americans fought and died. That won't happen so long as the left insists that their feelings are more important than your rights. I'm Ben Shapiro. This is The Ben Shapiro Show. Oh, we have such an epic show coming up for you today. But first, we have to say thank you to our friends over at Birch Gold. So, folks, if you're concerned about the direction of the economy, if you think that President Obama has inflated the dollar, if you think that the real estate market is inflated, if you think that the stock market is inflated, and that we're headed for a fall given our weak economic growth, you probably are already thinking about shielding some of your assets in gold, in precious metals. And you should have part of your assets in precious metals. Not the whole thing. I'm not saying go liquidate your bank account, buy a bunch of gold, and stock it under your bed. I am saying that you should have part of your portfolio in precious metals. The people that I trust with precious metals are the folks over at Birch Gold Group. They have a long-standing track record of continued success. They have thousands of satisfied clients. They have 5-star reviews. But most importantly, they have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, so you know that they're not scamsters. Right now, because of a little-known IRS tax law, you can even move your IRS or eligible your IRA or your eligible 401k into an IRA backed by physical gold and silver, which is a great way to protect from inflation or stock market crashes. If you want to talk to the folks at Birch Gold Group, they will send you a free information kit on owning physical gold. This comprehensive 16-page kit reveals how gold and silver can protect your savings and how you can legally move your IRA or 401k out of stocks and bonds and into a precious metals IRA. To get your no-cost, no-obligation kit, call Birch Gold Group at 800-496-6663. That's 800-496-6663. Or go to www.birchgold.com/Ben. That's BIRCH gold.com/Ben. Make sure you add birchgold/Ben because that reminds them that we're the ones who sent you, and that means that they know that we've been talking about you, and they continue to advertise, which pays all the labor for all of our poor minion Oompa Loompas. So make sure that you go to birchgold.com/Ben if you're interested in purchasing precious metals and information surrounding it. Okay, so we begin today with breaking news. Breaking news, gang. Hillary Clinton is super duper corrupt. If that sounds like the breaking news every day for the last 30 years, that's because it basically is. It now turns out that Hillary Clinton was, wait for it, lying about, wait for it, her missing emails. What? No, yeah, right? Yeah. I mean, everybody's like, whoa! No, it turns out, shocker, I mean, this is the most shocking news since Rosie O'Donnell announced she was a lesbian. It's true. According to the State Department, among the thousands of emails now recovered by the FBI from Hillary's bleached, bit-ridden personal server, there's about 30 emails about the terrorist attacks in Benghazi, Libya. So Hillary, as you recall, she had said that all of these emails concerned yoga and her daughter's wedding. I didn't realize that Chelsea was getting married in Benghazi and that Hillary intended on attending yoga classes in Benghazi. I mean, at least that would explain why she hasn't done yoga for 10 years. But she was getting yoga class emails from Benghazi, apparently. Or, alternatively, she was deleting all sorts of relevant material because she's corrupt and she was attempting to shield herself from scrutiny over that corruption. Apparently, she was sending this classified email, this classified material, long after, or at least information on Benghazi that was deleted from her server, long after she was at the State Department. So she was a private citizen sending what could have been classified information via a private server to other people who worked for her. Yes, she's deeply corrupt. I love it when the left says, there's no smoking gun. There's no smoking gun. Okay, there has never been and never will be a criminal case in which there's an actual smoking gun when you didn't see the shot fired. Okay, those cases may be limited to once in 1,000 years. Okay, basically, here the left's argument is this. You know, we say Hillary Clinton set up a private server. She did it specifically to hide material, and then she deleted the material she wanted hidden. Pretty clear, pretty obvious narrative. That's why she did it. According to the left, they say, well, how do you know what was in the emails? Maybe it was all innocent. Okay, this is like saying, after the O.J. Simpson murders, how do you know that Nicole and Ronald Goldman were stabbed to death with a knife? How do you know? We never found the weapon. We never found the murder. We never found the knife. Right, we just have their bodies and their heads cut off. So I'm going to go with it was a knife, right? If they're missing a lot of emails, I'm going to go with she was deleting emails for a reason. She wasn't doing it just for the funsies of it. So Hillary Clinton continues to be deeply corrupt. It's showing in the polls. Her favorable, unfavorable numbers are sinking again. And this is the whole race, is basically who do Americans hate more, Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton? It is amazing, the favorable, unfavorable numbers. According to the ABC Washington Post poll, Trump's favorability has now improved 7 points among men while slipping 6 points among women. But Hillary's numbers are just egregiously bad. Hillary's numbers are brutal. I mean, we're talking about she slipped from, I think it was 45 to, she had 45% approval with women, 52% unfavorable. Now, rather the opposite. She used to be 54 to 43 positive to negative among women. Now she's 45 to 52. So she slipped 7-8 points among women in 1 month since the conventions. Everybody hates Hillary Clinton, and they do because everybody knows that she's corrupt and terrible. And everybody knows she's lying. Tim Kaine, who's her vice presidential candidate, and the second unluckiest vice presidential candidate in this race, Tim Kaine said that you want to hear something ridiculous. Here is Tim Kaine talking about transparency and accountability.
Whether you're a Democrat, Republican, or independent, you've got a right to know about the person who is running to be your president or commander-in-chief. You've got a right to know everything you need to know to judge whether a candidate will work for you, will work for the country, or is only in it for himself.
Okay, so yes, he is deeply invested in the notion of transparency and revealing all the information. Also, at no point will Hillary ever reveal her medical records. A former Obama doctor was on TV last night stunning the medical world by announcing that Hillary should actually have a neurological exam, given the fact that she fell and bonked her head so badly she had to wear dual-pane glasses.
While I think that medical letter was well written and was very professional, unlike Dr. Bornstein's, it's not enough. For example, she is on Coumadin, a medication to prevent blood clots. And you have to monitor that, and it says that she's being monitored regularly. I'd like to know how well she is being controlled. That's a difficult drug to use. Also, I think she should have had a neurological examination, a thorough neurological examination in 2016. We know what happens to football players who have had concussions, how they begin to lose some of their cognitive ability. I think both of them should release their record.
Okay, Aaron Burnett is looking on like, I can't believe this guy's saying this on CNN. He's not allowed to say this on CNN. Somebody cut off his mic. And Early this morning, this doctor was found with a bullet hole in him at Fort Marcy Park. But aside from that, everything is going really well. Even the media are beginning to turn on Hillary over her corruption. A.B. Stoddard, who's a reporter she used to be for The Hill, she says that Democrats have to be terrified about what's going to come out of Hillary's emails.
Right. Joan is right. So many things she said a year ago, but even that day, that Benghazi testimony in the 11 hours last October, she said, I remember that day, she said something, the State Department captured between 90 and 95% of her emails, and the State Department had to come out the next week and say that they didn't know where that number came from, that wasn't true. She has obviously brought this on herself. I think what she probably thought was legalese that would protect her were actually a bunch of lies. They've all been proven wrong. Now it's not just another shoe to drop, it's raining shoes, and Democrats are terrified about what's going to be coming out this week and the end of September in the days and weeks before the election.
First of all, I have to admit that when she said it's raining shoes, for some reason it's raining men popped into my head, which is just sad for me. But in any case, she's not the only one. A.B. Stoddard isn't the only one who's saying that this is a problem. David Axelrod, who doesn't have a lot of love for Hillary Clinton. He's an Obama dude, David Axelrod. He says Hillary's emails are going to be the backdrop of this election.
And new chapters keep evolving here. The release of the FBI report and presumably her transcript, these 15,000 emails that were deleted. This is going to be in the backdrop of this election from now until November. The question is, are there revelations within these emails that are more damning than the ones we've seen already? If the answer is no, then I think it's background music. If the answer is yes, it becomes more of a central issue.
Now, it is, I think, first and foremost sad that David Axelrod no longer has his mustache. I know that makes no difference, but I'm just pointing it out. Even Mika Brzezinski, who is fully on the Donald Trump is a full insane person, we need to have a full psychological workup of him, even Mika's saying that Hillary's latest email excuses just don't fly.
I think it's all part of the baggage that the Clintons have lugged across the landscape of this country for 30 years. I don't think it's one specific thing. I think it's just an additional
But you know what,
thing.
people, when they get out there in the ether in today's headline, it's 30 emails, Benghazi hidden. That doesn't help. Sorry, 30 missing emails about Benghazi? That just doesn't help.
It's still mushier and gushier.
No, it's not mushy.
It's mushier than Trump's soundbite.
People are not that dumb. I'm just saying what we've been saying for over a year, even further, is that the email thing is big. It needs to be answered to. It needs to be completely transparent from the get-go. I guess she couldn't push the State Department to move along and get those emails out. I mean, what is...
Okay, and shockingly, Mika Brzezinski is exactly right. So everybody understands at this point that Hillary Clinton is a deeply corrupt candidate. She's also, as Donald Trump has said, she is a low-energy candidate. So while Donald Trump is traveling to Louisiana, Hillary Clinton is sitting back home recovering from whatever it is she suffers from, and Donald Trump is out there campaigning. The polls are starting to tighten a little bit. They're not tightening massively. Wisconsin, there are some polls out today that show that Trump was down 3 points among likely voters, which is a close result. Trump can lose some of the swing states if he wins Wisconsin. He would also have to win Wisconsin and Iowa. Those are the two swing states where he's closest. New Hampshire is basically lost at this point. Pennsylvania is an uphill battle. But Wisconsin results look a little bit better for Donald Trump. I will mention here that there were some election results last night that prove that the entire Republican base is not Trumpian. I mean, that's important to note. Marco Rubio won his primary last night. John McCain, unfortunately, won his primary last night. But both of those were opposed by Trump. That obviously didn't stop Rubio. It didn't stop McCain either. So, there's still open debate within the Republican Party about how much of an effect Trump has on the Republican Party. But that said, Trump, his newfound campaign, what he's done in the last couple of weeks has been much, much better. Now, that doesn't ignore the fact he's had absolute, utter chaos on immigration. It doesn't ignore the fact that Donald Trump's addition of Steve Bannon has opened some really ugly doors that we're going to talk about in a little while here on the show. But Trump is making some interesting moves. So today, Donald Trump is headed down to Mexico. He's giving his big illegal immigration speech tonight, rolling out his immigration plan, which I thought he'd rolled out before, but this is the new improved version of the Donald Trump immigration plan sponsored by Jeb Bush. So he's rolling that out this evening. But before he does that, he's taking a quick jaunt to Mexico, where he's meeting with the president of Mexico, a guy named Enrique Peña Nieto. So to make clear what this is about, Enrique Peña Nieto is really unpopular in his own country. He's got like 23% approval ratings. He's seen as co-opted. He's seen as corrupt. And so he's inviting Trump down. And Trump may be walking into a trap here. Trump may be walking into a bit of a trap here because there are only a few possible outcomes to Trump going down to Mexico before this speech. There are the two that I think Trump thinks he's going to get, and then there are the two that actually might happen that could be very damaging for him. Outcome number one. Here, we'll do the two that could help Trump. You know what? Should we make this part of Good Trump, Bad Trump? Yeah, let's do it. Let's make it part of Good Trump, Bad Trump. Sponsored, of course, the theme song, of course, thanks to our good friend Brandon for creating it. It's time for a little bit of Good Trump, Bad Trump. Let's do it.
Good Trump, Bad Trump, which one will we get today?
And we begin with Good Trump. Yes. So Donald Trump headed down to Mexico. So he's going to go down to Mexico and he's going to give taco bowls to everybody. Or at the very least, I was sort of hoping that it would be fun if Trump were as stereotypical as everybody thinks he is. It would be really fun if he just went down there in like a sombrero and a poncho and playing Speedy Gonzalez cartoons on his iPod. But I don't think he will do that. Instead, Donald Trump is going to go down. I think there are four possible outcomes, two of which are the ones that he wants and two are the ones he doesn't. The two that he wants, he could go down there and he could get some sort of concession from Peña Nieto. He could go down there and Peña Nieto could say, I'll help pay for the wall. Not going to happen, but in Trump's dream, that's what happens. He comes back up and he waves that piece of paper and he does his speech and he says, look at me, I've negotiated a great deal, the greatest deal you've ever seen, right? He could do that. That'd be the best outcome for him. Second best outcome for him is he goes there, he has a conversation, and then he comes back and he says, the issues have been made more clear to me. I've seen the evidence. I still believe what I believe, but I've talked with the people who really matter, right? And then it's an explanation for why he's flipping a little bit. Right? It doesn't make sense according to the timeline, but it makes him look as though he's listening to outside sources. It makes him look as though he's willing to negotiate. It makes him look more moderate on this issue than he has been heretofore. So those are the two good outcomes that could happen. Here are a couple of bad outcomes that could happen. One is this could be an absolute trap. Enrique Peña Nieto, because he's unpopular, he could be inviting down someone even more unpopular in Mexico than he is, Donald Trump, just so that he can smack him in public. You could see this happening. You could see Trump going down to Mexico and Peña Nieto saying in front of the cameras, this guy says that all of my countrymen are rapists and murderers. This is a guy who says that he doesn't want to do business with Mexico and that we're not their friends. And here he is, coming down here for his own electoral prospects. That would be really devastating for Trump. I assume that he got some sort of guarantee from Peña Nieto that wouldn't happen, but it still could, which is why there was opposition in Trump land about that particular possibility, I think, about him going down to Mexico. The other outcome that could be bad is if Trump goes down there and smacks Peña Nieto, because then it looks like you just went down there to kick the Mexican government right in the crotch. Like that's just very Trumpian. His base would love it, but I'm not sure the American people would be in love with it. So those are the four possible outcomes in all of this. We'll be discussing more of this. We're going to be discussing more Good Trump, Bad Trump in a little while. First, we have to say hello to our other advertiser for today, and that is Helix Sleep. So Helix Sleep, for people who don't know what Helix is or what Helix does, this is really cool. You go on their website, and you type in a bunch of information about the kind of mattress that you like to sleep on. You go to helixsleep.com, and they're on a 3D biomechanical model of your body through algorithms that they've developed themselves. I've done this myself with my wife, and they ask you sort of, do you heat up at night? Do you get hot at night? Do you sweat a lot? Do you like it firm? Do you like it sort of moderately firm? Do you like the mattress soft? They ask you, obviously, size. They ask you for your weight and your height. They ask you, do you have hip pain? They ask you for your body build. Are you built with big shoulders and small hips, or the opposite? And then they generate the mattress that's best for you. And they customize, if you're two people, they customize each side of the mattress, or at least they can. Helix customers say that there's a better sleep quality. And then in about a week, the mattress shows up. Shipping is 100% free. And everybody who's tried it that I've talked to loves it. I have mine coming, so I'll tell you how it works as soon as I get it. It should be coming in the next few days. You have 100 nights to try it out. This is the best part. You have 100 nights to try it out. If you don't like it, they'll pick it up for free, and then they'll take it back and give you a 100% refund. They won't ask you why. They won't bother you. They'll just take it, no questions asked. So you go to helixsleep.com/Ben, and you get $50 off your order, which is a sweet deal. That's helixsleep.com/Ben, helixsleep.com/Ben. Make sure you use helixsleep.com/Ben. So again, they know that we sent you, and then they are our advertisers, and we're grateful for their advertising. Okay, so we're still going to talk about more of Trump in Mexico, what it means for Donald Trump. We're also going to get to Trump on race. There's more good Trump, and then we're going to get to a sentiment that I've seen from some radio hosts on the right that requires a bit of a rebuttal. And so we'll talk about that as well. Plus, today is a little bit of Bible study. Yes, we'll make you holier by the end of this show. If you want to be a subscriber, and today you're going to want to because we have props today, dailywire.com is the place to do it. That means you get to see the rest of the show. $8 a month gets you the subscription. Plus, you get to email me and be part of the mailbag tomorrow. So dailywire.com. This brings to an end Facebook and YouTube. You can listen to the rest of the program a little bit later today on iTunes and SoundCloud. We are the #1 conservative podcast in America.